Let's get it. Let's go. Welcome back to the show. We got Michael R. Hunter in the house today. This is the guy that is the personal branding go-to expert. So, Michael, welcome to the show, brother.
Thanks so much for having me, Jake. I appreciate being here.
Dude, of course, man. Like, I'm excited for my people to just experience your greatness today, dude. Like, we've chatted a handful of times over the years, and every time we chat, there's always something I'm like, okay, this guy's on to something. This guy's got something figured out. And so I want to just kind of tap into that. Why did personal branding become your thing? And how have you really been able to maximize yourself as the personal brand guy when that's a very common phrase in the creator economy and the entrepreneurial community?
Yeah, I mean, obviously today it's a buzzword. Everyone's talking about it, and I'm so excited to get into all of the nitty gritty. I think today, if you ask 10 different people what a personal brand is, you're going to get 10 different answers. There's so many people that conflate brand with branding and branding with content marketing. So we're going to unpack all of that here on the show today. But how did I get here? It all started back when I was 17 years old. I got started in entrepreneurship, doing direct sales, selling Cutco kitchen knives to all of my mom's friends. And, my mom bought from another young kid 10 years prior. I used the product every single night at dinner. My belief in the product was a 12 out of 10. They're the coolest knives in the entire world. They cut through anything. And so that passion put me on a trajectory of like doing really, really well, making a lot of money as a 17-year-old kid, just slinging some kitchen knives. It put me, that success put my butt in the seat in my first seminar room, first sales conference, where there was motivational speakers on stage and books came into my life that changed my life. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Think and Grow Rich, How to Win Friends and Influence People at 17. This is almost 20 years ago. And at that event, I heard that the highest paid profession was to be a public speaker, and most people would rather die than speak on stage. And I was like looking around the room. I was like, did everyone else just hear that? My little 17-year-old brain, I just saw opportunity. And then I got introduced to Tony Robbins and his books and his content online and his audio tapes back in the day. And I was like, that is the coolest thing in the world. You can get paid to change people's lives and have a positive impact in the world. That just totally shifted my perspective. Obviously, that's much more commonplace now, but 20 years ago, it wasn't as common as it is today. And so I knew that I wanted to do that someday. Like I just had this calling. I just felt like I wanted to be a positive force in the world. But I'm 17. I don't have a message. I don't know how to speak on stage. I'm afraid to do that too. I don't have anything to put in a book, but I just like kept putting myself in rooms and surrounding myself with positive people and going to seminars and personal development events and business events. Long story short, I was in college, starting a bunch of little side hustles. Going into my senior year, all my friends that graduated the prior spring still didn't have jobs. We're at the bottom of the recession. So going into my senior year, I had the awareness I need to create my own job. I got the sales thing down a little bit. Even to this day, I'm still not like great at sales. But I got a little bit of skill there. What's another skill set that I need to learn in order to be effective and do this speaking thing, this author thing someday? And I didn't know anything about marketing. To me, it was kind of a different frame of mind. I was like, if I'm not sitting across the table from someone, like physically writing an order, how do you even make money? I need to learn about this marketing thing. And I want to learn how to do this to fill seminar rooms, to sell books, to sell courses. And so I had the awareness of like, I'm going to have other people pay me to learn how to do marketing for them. And so I quickly, relatively over about the course of a year, networked my way into having a full roster of clients in my marketing company. So 2010, started my marketing company, worked with anyone and everyone that was willing to pay me at first, but networked into having a full roster of authors, speakers, coaches, thought leaders, personal brands. By 2011, I'm working with a full roster of those clients. And it took about 2 or 3 years where we worked our way up to the top of that industry, working with household names. Was Brendan Burchard CMO for 2 full years between 2015 to 2017, did several of his book launches. Through him, got to work with Larry King, do the campaign strategy behind Brendan's course on Oprah.com, and got to work with Oprah's team. So we just had a lot of like really cool opportunities, even more than just those two that are fun to talk about. But ultimately, back in 2013, I just saw the future. Like I saw the trend. I was like, in the future, everyone's going to need to be able to communicate and convey their value in the world, even an employee in a normal job. I still don't think it's quite there yet, but some events that happened earlier this decade really accelerated things. And so where we're at today happened way faster than I even imagined that it would happen. But that's kind of how we got to what we're doing today with personalbrand.com. Was in 2013. I saw the vision, I saw the trend. I bought the domain name personalbrand.com in 2013. Because I knew that's what I wanted to do with the rest of my life. So, fast forward to today, I've been the ninja behind the scenes. Me and my business partner, Jeremy, we've done some really cool things, built one of the top software platforms, Spiffy Checkouts, that powers all the payments for people like Amy Porterfield and Jay Shetty, Matthew Hussey, Darren Hardy, a lot of big name authors and speakers. And so this next evolution is me turning my superpowers to use them for me and my personal brand, which has been quite a interesting journey, to say the least. But that's how we got to where we're at. So it's been a little bit of a journey, but lots of insights and perspectives that I'm excited to share today.
Yeah, dude, it's so good because you have seen it from every side of it, and now you're also starting to step into the forefront of it for yourself. And you mentioned a few things that I want to go deeper into, the difference between, all the different things that people think we're talking about. You also talked about, the web domain that you bought in 2013. And I want to ask a follow-up on that, just as like a marketing nerd, is by owning the personalbrand.com domain, do you find that your natural organic traffic is just way higher than all these other people who try to have these creative named websites?
Oh yeah, definitely. And, between 2018, all of 2018, all of 2019, we were publishing content. And again, 2018, 2019, personal brand was a thing. It's not what it was today. But our website traffic was going up just a little bit. And then when lockdowns happened and the aftermath, our website traffic went from like 3,000 hits a month to like 60,000 hits a month, but we weren't quite ready to capitalize on it at that point. And so like, that was a huge learning lesson. And, owning a domain name like that, when I bought it, like I didn't have the connections. I didn't have the track record. Frankly, I didn't even have the money to like afford to actually buy the domain name. I like maxed out my credit card. Right. And one of the things that my wife, Natalie Hunter, she works in personalbrand.com with us. She's a speaker, a transformational coach. She says that, sometimes while you're working on the dream's also working on you. And that's what personalbrand.com was. It was something that I had to be ready to step into my next level in order to make the vision that I saw possible. And so it's just 13 years in the making from the time that I bought the domain name to now, and it's been a pretty fun adventure.
Okay, so why does it take 13 years for you to now, like, and don't get me wrong, you've had great websites, you've had digital representation of you, but now it feels like with the Six Figure Pod, you're really stepping out into the limelight, right? You're really starting to be seen in different ways than you have been in the past. Why now? And why did you decide to do it versus in previous years?
Yeah, I mean, especially just based off of the combination of how our businesses are structured. We have a software company, recurring passive income. I don't have to do this, but I have to do it. It's a soul calling, mission, purpose. There's many years there where it's like, I don't want to go back into agency life. Like it took me a while to realize that it wasn't about like having an agency or not having agency. We had an agency between, 2010 all the way up to 2019. And we ended up winding it down when Spiffy started taking off. And, frankly, we were doing big product launches, doing the big book campaigns, and we got burnt out. It's like really high stakes, high pressure, always on to the next thing. And I couldn't go back to that. I knew where that type of a business ended up, and it ended up in burnout. And so I had to get to a point where like, oh, I just can do it differently. It's not about the business model. It's not about the topic or the types of businesses. It's just like how we're actually operating our business. And when you own personalbrand.com, like you can't just be like the Walmart of personal brands. Like you have to be like the best. And so it took me a long time to find the right team, a team that I knew could create predictable and repeatable world-class results. And so that's ultimately what we're able to do today.
And so dig into this, right? There's branding, there's personal brand, there's content marketing. There's a lot changing and shifting in our world, but most importantly, there's the need more than ever before that you kind of have to be seen, right? Talk to me and talk to the people here a little bit about the differences, how you kind of think about the ecosystem and where you think it's kind of headed.
Yeah. As I said at the beginning of the podcast, people conflate brand with branding and even brand with content marketing or branding with content marketing. And they are all spokes of a wheel, but they're not the same. And it creates confusion. It creates a little bit of overwhelm, especially when we have like the big names in the industry thinking or making us believe that we need to be posting 17 pieces of content across 7 different platforms to build your personal brand. Or, hey, here's how to build your personal brand. Here's how to podcast, or here's how to build your personal brand. Here's how to YouTube, or here's how to blow up on Instagram. What I've found and what I'm so thankful for and what I'm, excited to transmit on this podcast and what I do with our clients and at our events is just transmit perspective. Like I've just seen under the hoods. I've operated 8-figure businesses in this industry. I've seen time and time and time and time again, people that have millions of followers, hundreds of thousands of followers, but as soon as they stop posting, no one's talking about them. They actually have no brand. So the difference between brand and branding is what you say about you, and brand is what your customers say about you. And ultimately, you actually have no control over your brand. You can only influence it. And so that's the work that we do at personalbrand.com is we create brand strategy, which is creating concise, powerful, memorable, and repeatable language that we can spoon feed your best customers so that they can talk about you in a powerful and accurate way. And that's the work that people don't do. And frankly, early on in a business, it's not even valuable to do that work because you don't even quite know what your services are, how to talk about them, who your target customer is, what is the difference between a good client and a bad client, a good hire and a bad hire. You have to go through a season of just, kind of chaos to understand where you want to laser in your messaging, your positioning, your written, verbal, and visual communication. And that's really what we do at the brand level. So branding is what you say about you. Brand is what your customers say about you. And at the end of the day, what your customers say about you is the most important thing.
So what are some steps if people are listening to this and they're like, okay, I'm connecting the dots here. I want to say all the greatest things about myself, but I really want other people to say those things because that's going to drive revenue. What are some of the things that people can do? Maybe a couple of things that they can audit, maybe a couple action items that if they're listening now and they want to improve their personal brand, like what are those hanging fruits that you've seen?
The number one most important thing is you have to have a mechanism, a model, a methodology, a process that gets predictable and repeatable results. Everyone, and this is also why personally, it took me a long time to be ready to step out. We just see a lot of people out there putting up the facade, kind of the fake it to make it mentality, or they have really pretty branding, but like you can tell they're not very deep and they're not actually like doing anything positive in the world. So we're not here to manufacture anything. All of our private clients, they've been getting exceptional results for their clients for a decade or two. And we just help ensure that their level of authority, credibility, expertise is accurately being presented and communicated online. Most of our clients get a ton of business. They have, 7 to 8-figure businesses driven primarily by word of mouth. And so there's a point in a business where brand becomes a strategic unlock. It is the missing link that makes all other efforts in your business run that more effectively. And there's a lot of other areas to allocate capital before that's really the missing link. But to loop back and answer your question, you can't build brand without raving fans. And too much of our industry is so focused on the sale, having a high ticket offer, having a high ticket coaching offer, having a value ladder, all of these like terminologies that, in a lot of ways have just been regurgitated and reduced down to their simplest form when there's nothing wrong with the strategy, but how it gets implemented is not too standard. And so there's just too much emphasis on making the sale as the finish line, when that's really the starting line, and optimizing your entire business, making sure that everything is optimized to produce and create raving fans predictably and repeatably is the orientation to build a successful business and a successful brand.
If making the sale is the starting point, and I agree with this in so many ways, and then getting them to the actual finish line, where do you think are some of the key points that people can do to really create a better experience, which then leads to these raving fans?
Simplify, simplify, simplify. Um, you have to create a mess in order to know how and where to simplify. But most of the time, what we've seen over the years is that, especially when people have their initial first team of 5 or 10 people, they're like, "Oh, I have 10 people. That means I can do more." And so they start doing more things, or they start, the whole quintessential phrase of like, "What got you here won't get you there. What got you to this level won't get you to your next level." It's become cliche to where it's lost a lot of its meaning, but it's true. What got you here is creating a bunch of different offers. It's putting an offer in front of people, listening to them, creating another offer, putting that in front of them. That won't get you. You can hustle, grit, and grind your way to 7 figures, but you can't to do that to 8. And so what we find in the area of business growth that we help our clients in is in that area where they have a collection of offers, but they don't yet have a business model, where they haven't really experienced a flywheel where their efforts are compounding on each other. They're getting more output than the input. And so there are only a few different areas in your business where you are able to create assets that create leverage. And so that's really like one of the biggest pieces to focus on, is like finding out what are those 5 or 6 different aspects of your business model that create a leveraged output. And it looks slightly different for every business, but in a lot of ways it's your offer. Like there's no amount of marketing or branding that can fix a broken offer. And then it's a sales page. And most of the time people think that the sales page is just a web page that's communicating what their offer is, and it's not. A sales page is documentation of your best sales conversation from start to finish, right? And so one of the reasons why people miss the mark on their sales page is because they haven't had enough conversations with their customers to really understand what needs to be there. And then the third thing is really leveraging the power of technology and content creation and really getting good at that game, because it is a game.
Mm-hmm. Now, I want to go back to something you said earlier in your story over the years. Okay, you're reading these books and you knew you wanted to speak, and you got introduced to Tony Robbins, and Tony Robbins has all these events. You got in your first seminar room. You now have your own room. So talk a little bit about what type of events you're doing, who they're for, and kind of how that's felt as kind of a full circle moment from the initial dream.
Yeah, absolutely. So up until last year, 2025, we had only worked with a very select few clients, 7-8 figure businesses. And we just realized that there was a lot of knowledge, perspective, insights, and strategies that we could share with people earlier on in the journey that could help them avoid a lot of the mistakes and get on the faster path to growth, having a bigger impact, making more money, to fuel the mission. Everything that we do at personalbrand.com is to rally behind value-centered, mission-oriented, heart-led founders. We're not interested in supporting people that are looking just to set up a funnel so they can buy their next Lambo. If you spend the next decade adding so much value to the world that you get to enjoy material possessions out of play and excitement and out of your own creative expression, cool. It's not about the material possession, having it or not. It's just the energy with which it's attained. So last year, we added live events to our business model to meet people earlier in the process and to really communicate the philosophy at personalbrand.com. Our core philosophy is that there's 3 critical pillars to building any business, but specifically a personal brand business. It's brand, business, and being. And that third part is the most important part. Going to all these marketing conferences and having to go to a different event that's more of a personal development event, we wanted to bring everything in-house. World-class brand strategy, helping people refine their business model, and helping people reflect and see where they might be holding themselves back from stepping into their next level of wealth, responsibility, leadership. What I found over the years, pretty squarely being in the business and the brand categories, is that if you're not ready for your next level of being seen, of being heard, of wealth, of abundance, of leadership and responsibility, you're naturally going to hesitate, self-sabotage, and delay the action you need to take. And so that's what we've done in our 3.5-day event, Brand and Business Breakthrough, is bring all of those under one roof. It is the best event in the industry on the topic of building a personal brand. We guarantee it. If you come to the event and by the end of the event, you don't think that it is the best event, not that you've only ever been to, but you've ever even heard of or know about, ask for your money back. We'll give you a full refund.
Yeah. And when's this next one coming up?
We do it in September, January, and May every year. So the next one's coming up at the end of September.
Let's go. And how many
Well,
people do you like to have at these events?
they are small, intimate, curated events. So
Cool.
there's 18 to 20 people in the room every single time. If we wanted to, we could, throw up some ads, you know, promising everyone could be a millionaire by next Friday, and we could pack out a seminar room with 400 people here in Scottsdale. But that's not what we're about. We're about really rallying behind people that are here to have a positive impact, understanding that, them sharing their message through their book, through their own workshops, through speaking can actually have a ripple that goes through generations. Those are the founders that we're looking to rally behind. The next one's coming up at the end of September. And so we keep it small, 18, 20 people, so that we can ensure
Awesome, man.
every single person gets a breakthrough in all three areas.
I love it. So I want to go to one more topic before we wrap up here in the last couple minutes. And it's talking about like the future of this, right? You mentioned you had this kind of vision where you kind of saw the future of where personal branding would be. The pandemic accelerated your website traffic, right? People started to really pay attention here. You have people talking about various different things around the amount of content you need to post, the type of being seen. Like there's all of these different perspectives that are out there. As we look ahead now, you've been in this game for a while. You have personalbrand.com. Where do you see this going? And what do we as entrepreneurs need to be paying attention to in order to capitalize on the opportunity?
I'm excited to share where I see things going. And I want to preface it with this. Anybody that says they know where things are going and are like overly confident in it, they're full of you know what. Like we're just sitting at unprecedented times. Hardware technology grows at an exponential curve. Now we have software growing at an exponential curve, and that software is growing hardware exponentially. We're at this like triple, probably even quadruple exponential curve rate of growth of what's even possible. And our human brains, like we understand linear growth. We don't understand exponential growth. And we're sitting at the beginning innings of triple exponential growth. So that being said, just knowing that AI is coming is here to stay. I believe that in the near future, we're already here, but in the very near future, we 100% cannot trust anything that we see online is real. And there's going to be I believe there's going to be a Renaissance 2.0 where AI is perfect, it's logical, it's creating perfection, and that gets really boring over time. And I think that people are going to start to appreciate imperfection. They're going to start to appreciate human expression. They're going to value real human connection. This is why last year we saw the trend coming with AI. It's why we did move to do live events. We're kind of like zigging when everyone's zagging, when everyone's kind of shutting down their live events and going extra hard on AI. We're doing that too, but we're really leaning into live events. As everything accelerates into the AI age, people are going to value experiences, connection, and community. And live events, hit all of those markers. So I believe that people are going to be 5 years, 10 years from now. Information is no longer the differentiating factor. We're coming out of the information age into the transformation age. You're going to be able to not just find a social media person out there that can help you post on social media, but you're going to find somebody that enjoys the same things that you enjoy, that shares the values that you share, because the information isn't really the thing that you're buying anymore. It's really the community. It's the values alignment, people specializing in their domain. And this is where personal brand comes in, is that the more you can authentically express who you are, what your values are, and how you can help people, and not go wide, but actually go narrow and be very, very specific, those people that make those difficult decisions are going to have massive success in the years to come.
Yeah. Awesome, dude. Awesome. How do we follow you? How do we learn more about personalbrand.com? How do we come to the event? How do we check out Spiffy? How do we check out everything you've been building and continue to build?
Thanks for asking. The number one place you can go is my personal website, michaelrhunter.com. Shoot me a DM on Instagram. On Instagram, I post clips to the podcast, add a lot of value on Instagram. You can find me on LinkedIn as well. If you're interested in the event is called Brand and Business Breakthrough. You can go to personalbrand.com/breakthrough. We'll have it linked down in the show notes below. We'll also create a promo code to give listeners an additional discount just to make it an easy yes to get in the room. And yeah, just shoot me a DM on Instagram. Happy to answer any quick question that you might have about your personal brand.
I love it, man. This is great. I've always known parts of the story that you've shared, but to hear it all today and how it's all kind of come together was quite awesome. And for everyone that's listening, when you own personalbrand.com, whether you got it lucky 13 years ago or you had strategy behind it, you've kept it. And you know what you're doing. If you go to your website, you see very clearly, this guy knows what you need to be seen as. What are the key pillars to make things happen? So do yourself a favor and check out the site, but then do yourself another favor and check out what are people saying about you? Ask 3 to 5 past customers, how would you view me? What words would you describe me? When you think of me, what do you think of? And see if it matches what you think of yourself. If there's a gap, your brand is not what you think it is. And so do that and then call Michael up and get some support there. So thank you for coming on the show, Michael. Thank you for everyone that's listening, and we'll see you next time.